So, welcome everybody to episode 19 of the Terrorific Talk podcast. Yes, we are up to episode 19. And nice. This is the podcast that answers the question, why horror? And with me, I've got a guest that might be, okay, my camera's like opposite, so there he is. And you've seen him before. He was on episode 2, so way back 17 episodes ago.
Oh, I feel like a veteran.
I know, you are.
Do I get a medal?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe you.
Please?
I haven't seen this medal yet.
Yeah. Well, it exists. I promise.
Yeah. That's what politicians say.
No. Okay. Well, I don't want to sound like a politician.
Sorry, no. I won't call you that again. You call me reasonable after all. You're being nice.
Yeah, I'm being nice. You're calling me a politician.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I was just being satirical.
Yep.
To the world, not to you.
Yep. Well, I'm never having him on my podcast again, everybody. Like, listen to that. Yeah. Well, for some reason, he agreed to come back on to Terrorific Talk. I don't know why, but...
nice.
Aw, thank you. And just thank you for agreeing.
And you say nice things about the video games that we're all in, and we all like.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to say nice things about the video games that you're all in because they're awesome video games.
Not bad, are they? Yeah. I'm always very impressed with people who make them.
Yeah, even though you don't play them yourself.
Well, no. Well, the trouble is, the two I've been in, I kind of ended up knowing who did it as dint of being involved in them. So it's kind of, how can you play it? Plus, it means watching myself, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're editing, like I'm editing videos of myself. I've already seen myself about 50 times, just like, I know what it looks like. I don't want to watch it.
The charm has worn off, precisely, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, ew.
I'd rather watch videos when I was in my 20s and pretend that's still me, you know.
Yeah, don't we all? Except my 20s was about 10 years ago.
You're not making any friends here.
Well, you did call me a politician.
True. I realise I'm going to regret that. All right, yeah. But I haven't got my medal yet. Where's my medal?
It's coming.
See?
See, we get off on tangents, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I blame him just all the time.
She does. Very true, actually. She does blame me all the time.
Yeah, that's about just like what it's like whenever we're talking on social media as well. It's just like...
So I wake up in the morning, there's a message on Twitter saying it's all your fault every single morning. It's kind of depressing.
Yeah, it's one of those start like all our conversations with, hello, it's all your fault.
Yeah, let's do that from now on.
Yes. Hello, and welcome to Rupert, who's it's all his fault. Whatever
it's all my fault.
Yeah, whatever it is, it is all his fault, and he's, for some reason, yes. For some reason, it's all his fault.
Shapeshift mug.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd do a quick plug for the game. There you are.
Shapeshift, yeah, he was in that game, actually, everybody. In case you didn't know.
From this mug, I bet they do, yeah.
Yeah, just like, yeah, he just randomly has a shape-shifting detective mug.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Some of us have earned these little pleasures.
Yep. I have a cup. I already have my coffee and stuff this morning.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like, I'm not having more coffee. I don't want to be awake, like, all day.
No, it'd be a bad idea to be awake all day. I'm on tea because it's late here.
Yeah.
Well, it's not late. It's 60 minutes past 8, but yes.
Yeah, it's like just saying it's not like midnight there or anything.
No. Which is kind of the horror hour, isn't it? To drag it towards horror.
Yes, the witching hour. Yes.
It's the witching hour. Yeah, that's the word. That's the phrase.
Yeah.
This is why you're in charge and I'm not.
Yeah.
Of this. Don't get any ideas.
Yeah, that's why you're sitting over there and I'm sitting over here.
Yes. Also, the being born in different continents has something to do with it.
Yeah, except you're all the way across an ocean.
I am. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least we get to talk this way.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed we do.
Indeed.
So what are we talking about?
Yes. Okay, so I told you, everybody, we get off on these tangents, and then it's just like we have to bring ourselves back to...
And I get blamed, yeah.
Yeah, what it is we're talking about. So, Rupert, thank you for coming on to the podcast again to take the blame for everything that I'm going to throw at you. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I see the way this is going. The third time round, you might have to work harder to get me. The third time round, he said, like that's going to happen.
Third time round. Well, it's just like only if you want to.
Oh, always happy to.
Yeah, so I'll just like find you where you are and just drag you out here and force you to be on my podcast. And you know what? I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. So last time I introduced you. So this time, I'm gonna let you like take over. So that way, yeah.
Are you sure that's wise?
Maybe so. Talk a little bit just about, well, obviously, tell who you are and kind of what stuff do you do as far as video games, acting, writing, blah, blah, blah. Go.
Well, I'm Rupert Booth, and video games, acting, writing, and blah, blah, blah kind of sums it up at the moment. I used to think of myself as a writer. I've written some books, and have another one that I'm writing at the moment, which I have no time to write because I'm writing something else. So I used to like writing, and now I don't. And having spent years and years working on being a writer, suddenly got cast in video games and ended up being an actor as well, which is something I always enjoyed doing back in the day. So that's kind of worked out well, and that I thoroughly enjoy because it seems to me like an awful less work. You turn up and you say someone else's words that they've slaved over, and then you go away again and you get all the kudos for it. I'm starting to think maybe I made the wrong life choice all those years ago, but there we are.
Yeah, well, I would like to think that you made the right life choice because then we wouldn't be able to see you in all these cool video games that you're in.
That's true. Well, that wasn't so much a life choice as just saying yes when an opportunity landed in my pocket, and putting a hat on, which seemed to do the job. So yeah. So I suppose I think of myself still more of a writer than an actor, which is probably good news for the acting profession, frankly. Whether it's good news for the Writers Guild, God knows. But yeah, and at the moment, I'm working on. I'm writing an interactive movie about which I won't say anything else yet because I haven't finished writing it. I mean, I could say many things about it, but they'll all be swear words. Writing interactivity is hard to keep it all in your head or on the page or anywhere in any way that makes any kind of sense. But yeah, it's a challenging process, and interesting, but very frustrating. I can't wait to get back to linear storytelling. Yeah,
you did mention that like before, like we started, like you don't know how people like Tim and Linda just keep track of like all the different branches and stuff, like in a game like the shape-shifting detective. And I
think how they do it is that they have these massive brains separate somewhere in a warehouse that do all that thinking, because I just don't know how they process it all. I mean, I know there's two of them, but still, the brains in storage somewhere. Great big brains, possibly floating, possibly with eyes. I don't know if they've got little spinal column bits, because science fiction floaty brains generally have. Now there's a point.
Yeah.
Is like the brain from Planet Arus? Do you know the brain from Planet Arus?
No, actually, I never heard of it.
Okay, I thoroughly recommend it. It's a 50s science fiction movie about a flying brain from the planet Arus. He's one of those ones who's all kind of silence, puny Earth creatures. So that I'd call it a science fiction film. Is it a horror film as well, though? Because I mean, it's basically a disembodied brain floating about.
That'd be pretty creepy, though.
It unfortunately, creepy is what it's not. It's not perhaps the best film. I love it, but it's. It's a bit one of those so bad it's good. But yeah.
Yeah, kind of
That's tangent. Sorry, I just like a disembodied brain. Who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'd want to keep mine in my head.
Try though. One day. I mean, you never know until you experience these things.
Yeah.
Just take the brain out, let it float around a bit. There's a reason I'm bald.
Oh, so that's the reason.
Maybe.
So it's not just because of genetics, it's because you want to be able to more quickly remove your brain.
Take my brain out, have it fly around a bit, yeah, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I ended up seeing, like, a picture of the nervous system. Like, here's a picture of your nervous system. They, like, I don't know, like, if it was a real nervous system or, like, it was a model of, but it had, like, a brain with, like, the eyes, like, all, like, googly and popping out.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, ew.
Have you heard of the Bodyworks exhibition, Gunther Van Hagen's?
Mm-hmm.
You heard of him? Who plasticizes corpses, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, I think the first exhibition that he did in London, I happened to see it, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that, just purely by mistake. I was walking in London and saw a sign and thought I had some time to kill for a meeting. And I thought, I'll go and see that. And it was fascinating. And he had, one of the exhibits was the nervous system. And yeah, that was like something out of a science fiction film or a horror film, just all these and yeah, it wasn't nice.
Yeah, very macabre. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I could never be a medical student. I think the first time you have to actually cut up a cadaver, it's just kind of right. I'm out of there. There's just no thanks. I'm kind of fascinated by the workings of the body, but it doesn't mean I actually want to literally look inside one.
Yeah, I was actually at one point a pre-med major. Yes.
Huh.
Yes, I was.
When you say pre-med major, does that mean you kind of drummed and had a twirly thing and all that stuff?
No, not that kind of major. So college.
But wouldn't it be great if medical people did that? No, it wouldn't actually. You don't want someone twirling a baton while they're delving into you. Anyway.
No, I'd rather them concentrate.
Are you glad you invited me onto this?
Yeah, I would rather them concentrate on my surgery. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's why
that's twirling cerebellum.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Don't cut up and destroy my brain. See, folks, we get off onto tangents like this all the time. So,
well, it's kind of horror related, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, brains and internal bits, they generally are seen a lot in horror films.
Yes. So just be... At
least the ones I've seen.
Yeah. Be prepared, everybody. Be prepared, because there's going to be a lot of this happening.
I think it's already happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair point. All right. Now, okay, let's kind of let's ease into a topic that we both kind of know a lot about here besides horror, the shape-shifting detective. So
yes.
That's a game that would be kind of considered like, it may be considered like horror detective style.
Well, it's sort of psychological horror, really, isn't it?
Yes. And all different types of horror that fall kind of under like that umbrella, just like horror is just like the umbrella, then there's all sorts of different like little raindrops that kind of fall under that umbrella. So this
Raindrops of Blood.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
Actually, Raindrops of Blood's a great horror film title. I'm going to go away and write Raindrops of Blood now.
There you go.
I'm actually going to write it down. No, I'm not going to write it down.
I guess you're sick of writing.
No, I had one of those naked lunch moments of going, don't write down Raindrops of Blood, you bloody idiot. Yeah.
So, Shape-Shifting Detective is a game that has been
It would be a horror musical.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, yeah.
Raindrops of Blood.
I'll call the gang. Yeah, I'll kind of go, right, Raindrops of Blood, everyone, and, just lose my friends.
Lose all your friends.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call all of them to say Raindrops of Blood, but yes.
And then just end up just sitting on a bench talking to yourself.
This happens. This does happen, I've got to admit.
Even before you've lost all your friends.
Well, yes, indeed. Just happily sitting on a park bench singing about Raindrops of Blood. And then I get either arrested or sectioned. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be asking, are you okay? No, actually, I'd be intrigued. Like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Because that's just got, like, the mind I have. But anyway. All right, so that Shape-Shifting Detective, it's been out for 3 months now, and the reviews overall for the kids. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Time flies.
Wow, okay.
Time flies. Tempest Fugit.
I suppose it's one of those things where, obviously we filmed it quite some time before that, so my thoughts about it go back to then rather than it coming. Yeah, I suppose it is. Wow.
Yeah, it's like
Blimey, that
yep,
flown.
Yeah, time has flown, and reviews for that game have been overall positive from people like who have played it, with maybe a few minor nitpicks here and there, but that's just with anything in life. And people have tended to really speak favorably of your character. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about people's reactions to the character of Chief DuPont?
Oh, I mean, it's been very pleasing. I wasn't sure because DuPont was a lot more straight as a performance than Jenks. I wasn't, I didn't know if he'd get as much traction or be interesting in the same way, but no, it seemed to work. I thoroughly enjoyed playing him because he's a sarcastic bastard, basically, which isn't a stretch to act for me. No, I'm really pleased by the reaction to the whole thing. Actually, I'm very pleased for Tim and Linda because they put a lot of work into these things, and it paid off. And they're nice people.
Yeah, I had them,
and they feed me well whenever I go there. It's always well fed. They look after their actors. This is one of the great things about acting. When you're a writer, you have to feed yourself. When you're an actor, people just give you food.
Yeah, free.
It's like they assume actors don't know how to feed themselves. Maybe we don't.
Free food. Maybe I should get into acting.
Oh, definitely. Craft services table. Yeah.
That's the whole reason, for acting is the food.
Absolutely. I think people just assume that actors are always starving. Actors are mostly always starving. So are writers. But yeah.
See, there you go.
No. Shape. Sorry.
Trade secrets.
Indeed. But yeah, Shapeshift has been an extremely pleasant process from start to finish. From filming and from auditioning in the first place in Spain at the time, and the seeing the reviews has been very nice, very pleased with it.
Yeah, I had Tim and Linda and Clemens on for a couple episodes ago. Yeah, so they were talking about the aftermath, and even Tim and Linda still are just so humble, just about their success. It's just
they are.
Yeah, it's just
they are indeed.
It's you deserve every bit of success, and Tim's always oh, well, I don't know. It's oh, you're adorable.
They are adorable. Yeah. I love the parrot.
Yeah. It was just I'm so happy just for them and just for everybody that was involved in the game to see just the amount of success. It's my mom played it, and she was whenever she heard my voice on the radio. So it was kind of it was kind of interesting to see. It's just thanks. I've heard my voice already probably about 20 times.
Yeah, but good to be in it though, isn't it?
Yeah, really exciting.
I thought it was a lovely idea actually. I thought getting all you guys on Twitter involved in producing content for it. I thought, oh, that's clever. And it's nice. It's a nice thing to do, and I'm looking forward to working with them again. Assuming they'll have me again.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
No, you never know.
Yeah,
they'll have to. I've got the negatives. Wow, how old am I? I've got the negatives from when people took photos on film. Wow.
Yeah, film was a thing.
Actually, that's a good point. With digital cameras, how do you bribe someone these days? You can't go, I've got the negs, because there aren't any negs.
You could say, ha. You could say, ha. I've got it all saved on my phone.
Yeah, but then quick EMP and your phone's wiped. That's easy.
Ha. I got it all saved on my hard drive.
EMP, wipe your hard drive as well.
What is your obsession with EMP?
Just like EMPs. Who doesn't like an electromagnetic pulse?
Are you sure you're okay?
Absolutely fine.
Okay, just checking.
Are you sure you're okay?
Possibly. Oh God, extreme close-up. Oh, right. So now let's kind of slide into the whole reason just why we're here, horror, because you mentioned the last time we kind of talked a little bit about it but didn't delve too much into it, and you said that we should talk about it. It's we definitely should. So Okay, you said you considered yourself more of a casual fan of the horror genre, so it's not like,
Oh, yeah.
so it's not like I don't know like every like factoid and da da da. Just like I like it. So why do you like it?
Oh, well, because it's interesting, because it's entertaining. Why does anyone like any piece of entertainment? You know, and because I suppose it's like science fiction. It's a genre that's been there all my life. I mean, early memories in the 70s of watching Hammer horror films on telly. Probably my first encounter with horror of any kind. Doctor Who at that time was going through a period of aping horror films. Yeah, early Tom Baker era. My first memory of that is Pyramids of Mars. Since you have a TARDIS, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, admittedly robotic, but Egyptian mummies stumbling around the place. Well, that's an absolute horror trope, obviously. And then The Brain of Morbius that season, Frankenstein. Seeds of Doom, I think, was loosely based on The Thing. But definitely the Hammer films. I probably shouldn't have watched some of them at that age, but hey. I think I'd have probably screamed the place down if I wasn't allowed to watch them. I'd probably screamed the place down watching them.
Yeah.
But a healthy screaming. The Healthy Screaming. That's the sequel to Raindrops of Blood.
The Healthy Screaming?
It's all set in a gym.
Okay.
And then one day the machinery goes wrong and starts rebelling.
That kind of freaks me out.
It's just like a pile of weight suddenly bang on your leg and you can't move because your leg's pulped. Because iron. Pulping iron, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, then we're getting into things like Terminator.
Is Terminator a horror film?
Well, not necessarily. I guess, like, pure...
It starts with a human skull being stood on.
Yeah, that is true. It does
It's
have...
got a skull in it. It's horror, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. It may start with...
But actually, no. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so it's like some of those... It's got some of those kinds of elements in the beginning, kind of dark, dystopic kind of future. Mm-hmm. And if we're talking about the first one. And then, like, even, but the second one was more action-y, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like Alien versus Aliens. I think Alien could perfectly well be categorized as a horror film as well as a science fiction film. Aliens less so.
Matt.
What on earth?
Matt.
Oh, it's an alien.
Matt.
There you go. Don't do that. I saw that too early. Don't have anything to hand to wave at you. I could try and find a disembodied brain.
No.
No, I do actually have one around. Genuinely, I have one around.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's a little brain called Agamemnon.
You call your brain Agamemnon?
I don't call this brain Agamemnon. I call it many things, but it's not Agamemnon. No, it's a character in an upcoming short, a little rubber brain called Agamemnon, and he's around somewhere. Yeah, somewhere.
Oh.
I should have thought ahead and actually got him out. His eyes flash.
Oh, it's like, why is he named after a Greek character that was involved in the Trojan Wars?
Why on earth shouldn't he be? Don't be brainist.
Oh, he is evil.
Well, he tries to be evil, does Agamemnon, but he's not really up to it because he's this big. So he'll kind of zap you with his laser eyes, but basically all it will do is mildly singe your sock.
Oh, okay.
We're straying off the topic. You asking me about horror. I always get so I thought about this earlier because I prepared for this, and I was thinking what was the most sort of formative, not formative, but powerful experience of horror in my younger days, and I realised, and I've forgotten about this. It was reading Frankenstein at school. When I was about 12 or 13. We got an assignment to read Frankenstein. It's a great big book to me at that age. And it shut me up. It was terrifying. The descriptions of the monster to begin with were what got me. But then later on, the kind of psychological horror of realizing the despair of the creature's condition. You know, his own sort of self-despair. You know, this is what I am. I'm made of bits of dead. And that was, you know, it's a lovely bit of writing, isn't it? It's an extraordinary bit of writing. I think the descriptions of how pallid and waxen his skin was, how yellow with corruption and all that sort of thing. Really, really scary stuff that no filmed version of it has ever come close to me for being as scary. Now, that might be because I'm not 12.
Well,
but also because I think the book's really powerful and really well written.
I would agree with you there, and I would also agree that I haven't seen like a version on film that's really even come close to the overall feel of what the novel is meant to portray.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Boris Karloff giving it a bit of kind of type stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
I like the one that Kenneth Branagh did as well. Was that the 90s?
Yeah, it was the 90s. I thought it was kind of weird.
Yeah, well, the whole story's kind of weird. Yeah, so Frankenstein, I suppose, was my literary go-to. Read Dracula not long after that. Actually, yeah, that kicked off a bit of an interest in reading the original stories of all the films I'd seen. Thinking about it, yeah, Dracula's also a good book, obviously. I think Frankenstein is more viscerally scary. But yeah.
I was the type of student that read for fun, and that's why I ended up reading Dracula. It's because I wanted to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
My only complaint about that is that it took forever to get up to the castle and kill Dracula. It's just like, why do I need to read pages upon pages of you going up through a mountain?
Yeah. There's less wasted space in Frankenstein. What's your favorite version of Dracula then?
Well, I'm not going like with the Nosferatu type Dracula. That's kind of strange. You got older Dracula, which is like talk about the one from the 1930s, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Bela Lugosi.
Yep, Bela Lugosi, and
Children of the Night, what music they make.
Yes, it's like admittedly at times kind of campy, but it's the 30s, but that's perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking I can't think of a recent version really that's come close.
Have you seen the BBC one from the mid-70s with Louis Jourdan playing Dracula?
No, I have not.
I recommend that. That's my favourite. It's strange. He's very good. It's a proper adaptation of the book, as far as I recall from last time I saw it. Yeah, I think it's out on DVD. I recommend you track down a copy and have a look at that.
All right,
It's a very 70s BBC production. You're familiar with Doctor Who, so it's same era, 76, 77, I think it was made. Mm-hmm. So location on film and then studio on video. But yeah, it's odd. It's unsettling. There's a lot of really strange video effects. I think Peter Sasdy directed it. I think, and it's the most. It makes Dracula the most kind of alien for me, because really this is a different creature. This isn't human. I do like a bit of Nosferatu, mind you, but that might just be because the older I get, the more I look like Max Schreck.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of a recent version really that's come it's really been to my liking. Now, as far as portrayals of just vampires in general, have there been any that have been to your liking? No, besides of course Dracula, the main go-to.
No, I don't think of. No, I have never seen an episode of Buffy. No, I think I've seen one episode of Buffy. So no, sorry, that answer doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's okay. It's kind of hard for
Mind you, just this morning I did get an email that suggested I might end up being in a thing with a vampire cult in it. So that would be great. I'd love to play a vampire.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a challenge.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, a great challenge, but still a challenge.
Yeah, stick teeth in and go and bite Anna Rosa's neck or something like that,
Yeah, I like horror, but I don't know how good I would be at being evil.
I was going to say, I think you'd be magnificent, but don't misconstrue that.
Yeah, I always tend to be my own worst critic. Creatives often are.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'm trying to think of. We got off on kind of like a tangent again. Now I'm trying to like remember just like what I was going to ask. Dang it, Rupert!
Vampires. It's dying. Sorry. You want me to shut up for a bit? I can shut up for a bit if you like.
Okay, all right.
I'll shut up.
I've almost got it. Oh, okay. So you talked a lot about how one of your formative horror experiences wasn't actually a film. It was a book. That's very interesting. You're the first person that has actually said that. Because usually when it comes to like a horror, people are like, oh, the commonality is I was young and I watched this movie and it scared the bejesus out of me. But I just find it interesting that you're the first person to say like, well, it was a book, not a movie. It's the other way around.
Well, I mean, I certainly did see, like I said, the Hammer films and so on before I read Frankenstein, but Frankenstein was the first one that really made an impression on me and really horrified me, which I suppose is the point of horror. Yeah.
So they do tend to
More people should...
Oh, yeah, they should. Yeah, more people should, like, read those books, because especially the old kind of gothic, like, Victorian horror. Those are very interesting.
Oh, they knew how to write horror, didn't they? I mean, let's face it.
Mm-hmm. And if you think of just, like, Dorian Gray, he, in a sense, that can also be terrifying. Like, if you look at it, in that light.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these are great archetypal stories, which I suppose is why we keep going back to them and you keep getting more and more versions of them. Yeah. I
honestly haven't seen a really good version of Dorian Gray either on film. Now that I think about it.
There's a Hammer one again, isn't there? But yeah.
Well, they always want to make him brunette, and it's just like, no, in the book he's blonde, because they talk to it's like he's this blonde like Adonis like type character, and it was just like, why do you keep casting him as a brunette? I'm mad.
Yeah. I can't answer that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I was just like more of a general, like, I'm mad and I'm annoyed and here's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have to make it yourself then, won't you?
Yeah, right.
Want to get it right? Do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, that may be how the saying
no
goes.
Pressure,
but yeah, no pressure. None whatsoever. Now, what about, do you say you're more of a fan of just, like, the old-style horror as opposed to, like, maybe the more mainstream recent horror that tends to come out?
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah. I do like a good Hammer film. I do like the 30s ones, the Universal you mentioned earlier. The Invisible Man is terrifying. I think that's great. Yeah, I can't think of a horror film I've seen recently, to be honest.
Do you remember the last one that you saw?
I'm trying to think. I've got a horrible feeling it's something like Silence of the Lambs. Recent. It is good, but it's not recent. No, I don't remember the last one I saw, so that probably means I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, recent for you. Does it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, like I say, a very casual fan of the genre, so if one comes my way, I'll watch it, but I won't really go out of my way, unless one's recommended to me, All
right, since you're a fan of, like, the whole kind of, like, Mummy, Frankenstein, Universal Monsters kind of thing, Blumhouse Productions has taken over that from Universal, and the first movie they're going to put out under that banner is The Invisible Man.
Excellent.
Yeah. Which
Excellent.
I also read that for fun.
Yes, me too. Me too. Yeah. Another scary book.
Yeah, it is. The guy's a jerk.
He is. He really is. He deserves all he gets.
Yes. You don't feel sorry
Again,
for
there was a BBC version that was on 84, 85-ish that was very good. So who was the actor? Pip Donaghy, I think. Yeah. Played him. That's worth seeing.
The BBC makes versions of everything, it seems.
They do. Yes. It's just the white part.
Like, if there's a book out there, it's just like, oh, the BBC did it. Like, they made it into a film.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could probably, like, think of, like, what is that book that came out, like, 100 years ago? Oh, yeah, they made it. They already made it into a movie.
It's probably, it's out of copyright. Yeah. But, I think what appeals to me about the Universal films is, one, I like black and white. I think black and white's a very underused style these days. It can be look at something like The Elephant Man, deliberately shot in black and white and extremely evocative. And the Hammer is partially nostalgia, partially seeing all these tremendous English actors who all sort of turn up in it all the time, and it's always good to see Peter Cushing destroying Christopher Lee again, and Christopher Lee turning into a skull, and then dust, and so on. Hey,
that would be an interesting sight to see.
Go and watch any Hammer film. He always turns into a skull and then dust.
Hey, all right, so I'm gonna write that down. Well, if I don't write it down, I'll forget. They'll be like, "Well, what did he say again?"
I could just send you a message afterwards saying, "Go and watch Hammer films."
Yeah, you probably could, and then I'd probably be like, "Oh, okay," and then I'll forget. Then I'd be like, "What'd you say again?"
Well, then it'll be your fault, which means it won't be my fault, which is just right back to the beginning where everything isn't my fault anymore. Aha!
Oh, you caught me.
Check and mate.
So, would you say that you prefer reading horror or watching horror? Because horror tends to be a very visceral genre that people tend to like to view more than read at times.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's like people say about radio. The pictures are better in your head. So when reading something like Frankenstein, obviously it's what you conjure up from the depths of the psyche, which could often be more scary than what can be put onto film. But something like The Thing, the Carpenter version, I can't imagine that being more effective in book because it is so visual. Or Alien, So prefer, probably not. Not. I wouldn't say I have a preference about that.
Oh, so just if it's good, you'll read it or watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, yeah, if it's good. Or sometimes if it's bad for fun,
Yeah. It depends on the bad, though. If it's good,
it
bad.
Does.
If it's good, bad, that's cool. If it's bad, it's just no.
Yeah. If it's boring, I can't be doing something that's boring. I mean, I'm a great fan of Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's terrible, but it's not boring.
Yeah, that's a good...
Does that count as horror?
Well, it's a movie that's horrific to watch. I mean...
Yes, indeed, yes.
Oh, God, that movie.
But then it's got people being reduced to skeletons, and it's got an Elvira lookalike, and lots of stalking around gravestones, which admittedly fall over. It's got lots of horror tropes in it. I can't believe I'm seriously discussing Plan 9. I'll stop now.
You can see the strings, on the things that are going across the screen.
Totally. But it's just an interesting mashup of horror tropes and science fiction tropes. You've got the flying saucers, but then you've got all the graveyard stuff and corpses being brought back from the dead to stumble around, giving it this.
Yeah, it's a wonderful mishmash of all things horror.
It's a mishmash. Whether it's wonderful or not, I'm not sure.
I say wonderful in the very kind of it's wonderful for a laugh.
In a Rube sort of sense.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good bad. We all need those good bad movies sometimes.
Indeed.
Oh, I find it really hard pressed whenever you mentioned The Thing, and I find it really hard pressed to find a movie, really, in my opinion, that I like a lot better than The Thing. I like horror, I watch a lot of it, but I always end up coming back to Carpenter.
Fair enough.
I don't know why. It's just I love it.
Good.
I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, The Thing is great. I haven't watched The Thing for years. I must watch The Thing again. I must find a friend who's got a DVD of The Thing.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have it in my collection, unfortunately.
I
might have the 50s one around somewhere, mind you.
Yeah, Thing from Another World.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's the kind of campy version of that.
Yeah. Well, it's a very different kind of horror, isn't it? I mean, it's not the visceral, blood everywhere, faces splitting apart, dogs type version. One, because they couldn't do that back then. Yeah. But it's got some nicely suspenseful moments, and I like the fact you hardly ever see it. That's quite nice.
Yes, the whole idea just of the unknown and the atmosphere and to me, that's like makes that movie good. So that's kind of like leads into my next question. In your opinion, what makes a good horror story? Some people say the atmosphere, some people say the characters, others say, what in your opinion makes a good horror story?
Predictably, perhaps, I'm going to start off by saying the script. If the script's no good, forget it. Followed by the director, because you've got to have that kind of atmosphere. You've got to have the shock value. Obviously, shock is a massive thing in horror.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't got a director who can, I've seen some horror films where afterwards I think to myself, analytically, that was actually quite a good script, but it got murdered by the direction. And then thirdly, the actors. If they don't convince you, then that's all fallen apart. So script, director, actors.
Script, director, actors. That would definitely...
I'm not so bothered about effects and things like that. Again, looking at stuff from the 30s, because I can just, like you said, I can go, well, it's the 30s, it's fine. It doesn't stop me enjoying the story or getting into it, Yeah, those three things.
Because a lot of the horror, like nowadays, has to do with effects, but those don't really sell you, I guess. Is that what you're trying to...
I'm not a fan of CGI. CGI always takes me out of it because it always looks false to me. Still to this day, apart from some of the very best stuff. Not so much because of the rendering of it, but because the things that are happening you just know cannot happen. That is not a person doing that. That's not a real thing that they're reacting to. And for that, it kind of kills it stone dead for me. I'm old.
You're traditional.
I am traditional. I like a bit of practical blood. Possibly in raindrops.
Yes. I will say this. I'm not a fan of CGI, like overuse of it either. It doesn't like really appeal to me. Especially like fake CGI blood. It just looks like way too fake. I'm more of a fan of the practical effects like they use in The Thing. I'm coming back to it. Because it just looks like more gross and realistic.
And in Alien, you always get, was it Veronica Cartwright?
I think so.
Or am I getting it wrong?
I think it's been a long time.
Who was talking about when they did the chestburster scene, they had no idea how much blood was going to come out. And a lot of their reactions there are completely real, of just backing away going, oh shit, the actors aren't acting anymore. Mm-hmm. And you can't fake that. Maybe you can fake that, but, to have that real reaction to things, I think makes it more powerful.
Yeah, like I think I would get like scared pretty easily at just something like that if it just like randomly just happened, like a bunch of blood just started gushing out. I'd be like, but then it doesn't like it doesn't really take much. It doesn't really take much to scare me. It's just like if I get really involved in something, I hear a noise, I'm like
Many years ago, I was in an amateur horror film which no one will ever see. And had a death scene where I had to vomit huge amounts of blood. And it was just a case of taking a cupful of blood before the take and then everywhere. And someone took a photo. And I remember looking at it and going, I don't like that. Because it really looked kind of like, I'm dying and coughing up blood as I die. It's amazing how effective a bit of blood can be. How simple and effective. I suppose it's a very visceral thing. The blood's supposed to be inside. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd say that also, okay, I'm babbling here for a second. I had a thought and then I lost it again.
It's your podcast, you can babble as much as you like.
Yeah, just like, what else is new? Yeah, it is my podcast. You're just like, you're stuck here.
If you want to babble, I'll just go look for Rubber Brain,
Go look for Agamemnon.
Yeah.
I was trying to think here. So I'm trying to get formulate this question. All right, so are you would you say that you're not really then like too big of a fan of horror that's just like overly gross? Like there's like horror can to me like there's like gore and then there's like extreme gore. So is that the kind of stuff you tend to like stay away from? You're like, no.
No, I quite, again, if it's done well, if it's good, then that's fine. I mean, case in point, I suppose Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The first time I saw that, very impressed by it. I'm not a fan of gore when it's used stupidly. or when it's used to because there's nothing else there, because there's no script, because there's no direction. It's just kind of, let's try and be more and more extreme. That just bores me. But yeah, no. I there's no genre I kind of stay away from really there.
That's kind of...
I'm more horrified by soaps.
Soaps?
I stay away from them.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah. No. A bit of gore's fine.
Oh, okay. So is there much in horror that you don't like? Or do you pretty much like it all?
Crap.
Yeah,
if it's crap, I'm not interested.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I'll absolutely run the gamut from the psychological horror side, like something like Silence with Lambs, or Silence with Lambs. Silence with Lambs. That's a lovely pastoral scene. Let's sit in the field quietly. Yeah. Some little sheep going. Bah.
Had the lambs stop screaming.
Indeed, and then the sheep all explode and tentacles come out of them, and blood rain starts falling, and Agamemnon shouts, "Silence!" It's all great. This film that I'm writing in my head right now. No one will ever see. Thank God. Yeah, sorry, what was the question? Hello.
Oh great, now I forgot. Oh, is there much in horror that you don't like? I think that was the question.
Haven't I answered that? Yeah, crap.
Yes. Yeah, crap.
Yeah,
and then we got off on a tangent about tentacles and sheep monsters.
Tentacles and sheep, yeah, but you see, that can be misconstrued.
Yeah.
Tangents about tentacles and sheep.
Yeah, Hey, I'm trying to think of the last, bad horror movie that I saw. And while I'm thinking about that, can you think of, the last bad horror movie that you saw where you're just like, this is ridiculous? I'm trying to think here.
No, but I remember seeing a documentary a couple of years ago about the making of a horror movie that was terrifying. What was it? Something from the 70s, and the documentary was from the 70s as well. No, that's completely gone. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible interviewee.
Yeah, he is. No, I'm just kidding.
You didn't have to agree so quickly.
What, do you expect me to be nice?
No, I suppose. Well, no, I can't in that case. I won't even try to think of an answer then.
Yeah, fine. Now he's being pouty now.
No, because the thing is, if I think a film's crap, I generally just stop watching it. I don't waste my time anymore, so I never get to the end of them, so I don't remember them.
That makes sense. If I start watching a movie that's bad, it's just I'm just going down with the ship. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it. So I get an overall picture of how bad it actually is.
You wait until you're my age. Life gets too short.
Yeah. Well, I overanalyze everything.
Huh?
Yeah. So I don't think that will change, no matter how old I get.
Probably not, no.
No, I will overthink everything. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Oh, I think I found, what I thought was my least favorite horror movie. It's, quite a while back that I saw it. Jason X. So we're talking about Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. It was Jason in outer space. It was on late one night, and then I was like, "Oh well, I have nothing else to do. I'll just watch that." And afterwards, it's why did I watch this? It was so just it was not good, and I was like,
right, no, it doesn't sound so.
And I was
doesn't sound that. I suppose that's something that annoys me when you get either remakes or sequel after sequel after sequel long after the shelf life of the actual thing is done with. It's kind of like let it lie, let it die,
Yes. It's just I don't want to see any more Jason movies. I don't want to see any more Freddy Krueger movies. No.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. Good old Freddy.
Yeah. Even though I love Robert Englund as Freddy.
Everyone loves Robert Englund in general. He was great in V as well.
And what?
V. Have you seen V?
V?
V? You haven't seen V?
No.
Science fiction series from the 80s, mid-80s. Go and see V now.
Yeah.
Immediately, once.
Yeah. Well, I was a little Brandy in the mid-80s. I was born in 82.
Yes. But humankind has invented things like the videotape and then the DVD.
So you're saying that I have no excuses?
None whatsoever. And what's more, another thing that's not my fault.
You're just gonna keep rubbing that in, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm just telling you, mister, the charm's worn off now.
You told me that to begin with.
Yes. But I'm going to keep, reminding you of that.
But no, Robert Englund's really good in that. Certainly the original miniseries, rather than the series that followed it. Tremendous stuff. I don't think I've seen it since about then myself, actually. But, yeah, that's kind of got horrific elements in it.
Okay. So I've got, a V. All right. So I've got that written down. I got 3 things written down that you said... Go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Watch it. Okay.
I wish everyone listened to me like that.
Yeah, I mean...
Or you're just humouring me. You're just humouring me, aren't you?
No, actually, I've got this list of, things that people have recommended me, a podcast guest, over the course of the episodes. And I do get to them eventually. It's a bit of, a longer list that's been building. And time is also a factor in that sometimes.
Time, yeah.
Keeps on slipping.
Time is truly the fire in which we burn.
Yes, time is the true enemy.
It's one of them.
Yeah. No, I think it would be the. Yeah. Oh, man.
Correctly gender identified there. Well done.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I would have to say just that's one of my my main pet peeves about horror is the franchising and movies about exorcisms.
Huh.
I'm sick of exorcisms. I'm sick of exorcisms in haunted houses.
Now, The Exorcist is good.
Well, yes, I have seen that, so you can't scold me for that, even though it was made in the 70s.
And it's got Patrick Troughton in it, so that's great.
Yeah, so I've seen that, but then it gets to just oh, here's this exorcism, and here's another exorcism, and here's another one. It's just I'm done with exorcisms. Stop it.
And Blair Witch ripoffs. I got very bored with them.
Yeah, now the first Blair Witch, I interviewed 2 people on an episode a couple episodes back who were involved with Blair Witch. One was the producer, and one was the production designer. And so I was yeah, and they talked a little bit about their fondest memories and experiences with that. And so, yeah, I loved the first Blair Witch, but the others, just that followed, wasn't that big a fan of.
And then you got So Many Things, which was, because it was cheap to do, someone with a handy cam trying to, going down to a basement, and so on and so on and so on. And it just became Blair Witch was done with style, and it was the first of them.
Yes.
And annoyingly, I found after a while of those things being out, it kind of devalued Blair Witch a bit, which I thought was very unfair on the original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blair Witch is what popularized the found footage genre.
Indeed.
Some people want to say that it's a movie called The Cannibal Holocaust, but it was made in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, but that only it didn't have found footage in it throughout the entire movie. If we're talking about throughout the entire movie, it would be Blair Witch. That would be the one that I would point to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the object lesson that I was saying before of having was it scripted or was it improvised, Blair Witch?
I didn't get a chance to ask that actually. No.
I think it may have been partially both, but there, like I was saying before about have a decent story in this instance, and good direction and good actors, because there's not a lot of money spent on Blair Witch, but it doesn't need it. It's a very clever film.
Nope, horror movies can be made for cheap and rake in a buttload of money, and then that's where in comes the franchising problem. All studios see money. Yep.
Indeed.
Yep.
Indeed.
Then that's why when I heard that the new Halloween came out, I saw that. Have you had a chance to see that?
No.
Oh, if we're talking about recent, you definitely should, especially if you liked the one that came out in '78.
Right.
Yes, and because it's a direct sequel to that.
Oh, it's not a remake?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression it was a remake, and remakes just turned me off completely.
No, it is. It's a direct sequel 40 years later. So.
Right.
So the first one came out in '78, and then this one comes out in 2018. So basically all the ones that were in between, they're for the purpose of this storyline, they no longer exist.
Right.
So... Yeah, and it did really well, and then they're talking about just making a sequel to that, and it's just no. It's like,
I suppose the thing with horror, I suppose the whole sequelitis thing might strike harder than anything else because so much of horror is about shock. And how can you maintain the shock value when you're going, oh, here's the 5th iteration of that shock?
Yeah, that's why just like with certain franchises I'm a little bit more forgiving because they're not meant to like take you're not meant to take them too seriously, like the ones in the 80s, like I mentioned, Jason and Freddy. Like at times those are fun, but now I'm at a point where it's just like, let it lie. Let it lie. I'm tired of you like franchising, just the general franchising films. It's just
indeed.
That's why
I think I get the feeling that people in general are getting quite tired of that. Getting wise to it and going, oh look, stop ripping me off. Basically, give me something new.
Yes, exactly.
Though, mind you, how one would come up with a new horror film? What would be? You're the expert. What would you come up with if I said to you, "Here's some money," which I wouldn't be saying. You come up with a new horror film.
Oh man. That's actually a good question because you gotta think about, okay, you have the whole, well, no idea is really an original one anymore. It's just basically like how you execute that idea. So then like you got to think about, okay, what's involved in that genre? Okay, you got monsters, you've got isolation, you've got those things in outer space, you've got gore type horror, which I would not do. Anything that's overly gory, like say things like the Human Centipede, I tend to stay away from. It creeps me out.
I did watch Human Centipede. I heard about that and thought, I really cannot be bothered with this.
Yes.
That doesn't sound appealing to me.
Smart man.
Yeah.
No. But I think like if I had to make a horror film, it would have to do with the themes of isolation and an unknown enemy, kind of like the Thing-esque, except not with aliens, like just some kind of unseen enemy, like type of thing. That really just attracts and appeals to me. So when the enemy is just like the unknown and like those that you think that you trust, like you tend to eat each other alive because of the fear.
Yeah, kind of psychological horror then in that way.
Yeah, actually, that really appeals to me. Yes, Sad Panda Family. Politics is the new horror genre. Oh, let's not go there.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, but it is true. It is true. Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of the new horror genre and the new farcical comedy at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Like I'm half expecting to see The Purge at this point.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't me either. Oh, and Sad Panda Family also says, I think Blair Witch Project had a lot of marketing money. Certainly was the only banner ad I saw on the internet for months at that time. Yeah, we're talking late 90s internet, like when the internet had only been around for like maybe a couple of years at this point, like to the general public. It had It had a good marketing campaign. That's what I remember the most about it.
Funny enough, I don't remember seeing any marketing at all about it, but yeah. I just remember seeing it, but it was a long time ago.
Wow. I remember the marketing for that had to do just like a missing persons poster, and they like kind of pushed the whole fact just that it actually happened. When I found out it didn't happen, I was like, aw.
Maybe that stuff didn't get to the UK. In the same way.
Makes sense.
Also, I'm trying to remember when I got internet access, decent internet access. Yeah. But yeah, good point. Marketing money. Yeah.
Yeah. It was marketed well, like I will admit. Yeah. And let's see here. Yeah, going back to the found footage genre, I haven't really come across one that I've liked as well as the Blair Witch. I can't watch much found footage to begin with because of my eyes. I got like motion sickness kind of thing. No.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so if I'm like watching something like Shake, like no matter like whether it's like a video game or a movie that does stuff like that, I get sick. Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Good reason to avoid that sort of thing then.
Exactly. Like Blair Witch was enough for me. Like as much as I like it, I can't like watch it too much. Yeah.
Oh, I finished my tea. Damn.
You have to go to the loo.
No. I mean, I could go make a cup of tea, but then I'd be sitting with dead air. So no, I'll stick around.
You could have like the tea podcast. Tonight on Terrorific Talk, Rupert makes a cup of tea.
Indeed, and then drinks it.
Yes. Yeah.
Not the most horrific thing.
Yeah, because usually...
Unless there are tentacles in the tea.
Yeah. Because usually the joke is, like, everybody on the that I have on podcast ends up having to, like, go to the bathroom at, like, some point.
I did wonder where that came from. I thought, why is she saying, do I have to go to the toilet?
Yeah.
All right. Does she want me to go?
Go! No, I'm just kidding. So, okay, I'm trying to think of, let's see here. I think we've ran through just about everything that I wanted to talk about, actually. Yay!
Just at the time when my tea ran out. That worked well.
Yeah, it did. Just like great timing. No, like get off. No, just kidding. So, where can people find you on the World Wide Web if they want to keep track of your nonsensical thoughts about things?
Twitter, basically. I am on Facebook, but I kind of just don't do anything there anymore. I went off it. So Twitter is where... Not that I'm very good at putting my nonsensical thoughts about things on there a lot of the time, but yeah, that's where you can find me. And if you say hello to me, I'll definitely say hello back.
Yes, and I know that from personal experience.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
He's like, hey, hi. Now he's thinking, now go away.
Well, it just seems to me if someone's sort of, nice enough to come and say that they enjoyed a bit of your work, of course you should be nice to them, shouldn't you?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So
if everyone loved each other, the world would be a better place. Tommy Wiseau.
Yes, exactly. And anything that you're working on that you can say that we should be keeping an eye on in the future?
Not yet.
You're no fun. I can't ever get anything out of you.
I know. Lots of things. There's an awful lot of work going on at the moment, but it all needs to kind of come to the forefront. Where we're having a big meeting on the 23rd of this month about it, doing a read through of some of it. Maybe we'll film a bit of that and put a little bit up, maybe, which if it's remotely entertaining to do that. Yeah, but there's a lot. Yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah. But this thing I'm writing at the moment, this interactive movie, is part of it.
Okay.
And there's also going to be a web series attached to that. So yeah, that. I can't wait to get filming. I cannot wait to get filming that.
So it's just a matter of you want to get it done now. It's a
matter of I want to start having fun. I want to get away from being sat every single day in front of the screen, desperately typing out words while my forehead bleeds. And get with the gang again and get out there and shoot. Be great.
Yeah.
There are hoops to jump through first. There are steps that we have to go through. Largely involved with raising money, and indeed finishing the script on my part. And I'd like to publicly apologise to the team for not getting the script finished yet. It's difficult.
So there you go, public apology.
Indeed, yes. That one is my fault.
See? Here we come back around to it again. Everything's their fault.
Yeah.
Probably more than one thing.
Undoubtedly more than one thing.
Yeah. Yes, Rupert. So Sad Panda says Rupert is working on Not Yet, so it's been titled.
Let's call it that. The working title is Not Yet. Though I might just throw it all in the bin and start on Raindrops of Blood now.
Yes, just have a big giant receptacle that says Not Yet, like written on the outside of it.
It's my life, I mean.
Yeah, our lives are full of not yets.
Mm-hmm.
And maybes and woulda couldas.
Oh, plenty of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's actually going to be a good place to end. And if you have stuck with us through our somewhat nonsensical ramblings at times, then you deserve a medal.
And thank you. Yeah. Don't believe her when she says she'll give you a medal.
Believe me, Like
I've been promised a medal now. You promised me a medal now. If I don't get a medal, then you're going to be hearing about it from a distance over Skype. I know that's not very scary.
Yeah, no, I'll give you a gold star to appease you until you get that medal.
What, like Adric?
Yes.
You calling me Adric?
Yes. It's also a good response to people asking if the script is finished. Yes, definitely, said Panda. Not yet. Not yet is your answer to everything.
Not yet, but soon.
Yes.
Well, a lot of the scripts are finished. I finished a load of scripts. It's just this last one that's interactive. It's difficult. Drowning in it.
Yeah, there we go.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this is fine.
Oh, good.
Yes. Well, Rupert, thank you so much for coming on here again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to drag you on here again now.
Right, yeah. Once I get my medal, I'm right there.
Okay, God, stop whining. Stop whining. And so, until next time, everybody, stay terrific, and bye-bye.
Seeing you.
Bye.